Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Daniel Hall. Let's take a look at today's stories. Representative Devin Nunes of Southern California has officially resigned from Congress. His resignation letter was read on the House floor today. And over the weekend, high tides known as king tides in the Bay Area caused a flood advisory. The king tides can cause flooding to sidewalks, parks, and roads. Today marks the official resignation of Representative Devin Nunes of Southern California. After 14 years of working on the Hill, Nunes is moving on to a new career position.
Representative Devin Nunes officially resigned from Congress on Monday. Nunes' resignation letter was read aloud on the House floor during a pro forma session.
The Honorable, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Madam, I write to inform you that I have notified California Governor Gavin Newsom of my resignation from the U.S. House of Representatives effective today at 11:59 p.m. It has been the honor of my life to represent the people of California's San Joaquin Valley for the last 19 years. Please let me know how I can be of help during this transition. Signed sincerely, Devin Nunes, Member of Congress.
The California Republican announced last month that he would be vacating his seat to become CEO of the Trump Media and Technology Group. Nunes, a close ally of former President Trump, previously led efforts to discredit the FBI's Russia investigation and special counsel Robert Mueller's probe. Representative Mike Turner is taking over Nunes' spot on the House Intelligence Committee. With Nunes' departure, the total number of members in the House is now down to 433. Representative Nunes and the late Representative Alcee Hastings of Florida, who passed away in April, are the two current vacant House seats.
Jury deliberations on former Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes' 3-month trial resumed today. However, the jury was unable to agree on 3 of the 11 fraud charges against Holmes during the morning deliberations.
After over 45 hours of deliberation, the jury in the trial of Elizabeth Holmes said in a note on Monday they are unable to come to a unanimous verdict on 3 of the counts. Judge Edward Davila read the jury a deadlock instruction, reiterated Holmes' presumption of innocence, and sent the 12 back to the deliberation room to continue weighing the 3 counts of fraud. Judge Davila told the jury to keep deliberating by issuing an Allen charge, which comes from an 1896 Supreme Court case that approved the use of a jury instruction to encourage those in the minority to reconsider their position. Jury deliberations began 2 weeks ago on December 20th. The jurors are tasked with weighing 11 fraud charges against Holmes following weeks of witness testimony.
Around 4 p.m., the jury found Holmes guilty of 4 of the 11 charges, ending the lengthy trial. Jurors deadlocked on 3 of the 11 charges. Holmes could face up to 20 years in prison and a fine of $250,000, plus restitution for each count of wire fraud and each count of conspiracy. Judge Davila will sentence Holmes at a later date. The union of the police officer whose stray bullet fatally hit a teenage girl in Los Angeles responded by saying that the officer was following his training correctly during the incident. NTD's Jason Blair has the update.
On December 23rd in Los Angeles, while responding to a possible active shooter situation, a stray bullet shot by Officer William Jones went into a dressing room, fatally striking a 14-year-old girl. Jones's police union responded by telling City News Service that Jones had recently completed an active shooter course and was properly following his training during the incident. Jones and other officers were responding to 911 calls about a suspect being violent and attacking people in a Burlington store.
He's using one of those bike locks
to hit people?
Got you, get out! Hi, yes, can you send a unit to Burlington and North Hollywood, please? There's a guy with a gun.
You're where, Burlington and what?
North Hollywood, please.
After the officers arrived, they located one of the victims who was injured and bleeding. The suspect was found nearby when Jones fatally shot the suspect. One of the stray bullets struck the teen girl. Later, it was confirmed that the suspect did not have a gun, as some callers had reported, but was attacking people with a bike lock. Civil rights activist Naji Ali told CNS that at minimum he wants to see involuntary manslaughter charges for Jones, saying that he does believe that it was an accident, but for his group it's about accountability. The Los Angeles Police Protective League's board of directors responded by saying that these misguided activists forget the deadly lessons learned from massacres such as the Columbine High School tragedy. Delay in responding to a potential active shooter could result in a mass casualty event. Several groups have an ongoing investigation into the incident, including the LAPD's Force Investigation Division and Inspector General's Office. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.
On New Year's Eve, a California man was shot in a mall. He was trying to help a victim of a robbery. The Concord Police Department responded to a shooting at Sun Valley Mall at around 3:45 p.m. on December 31st. Officers responded to one male victim with a gunshot wound. He was transported to a local hospital in critical but stable condition. Police said that there was a robbery in the mall. The man was trying to help the robbery victims, but the suspects allegedly shot him. The investigation is still ongoing. In November, a jewelry store in the mall was robbed. 9 people went in with hammers, smashed the display glass, and took the jewelry. Over the weekend, high tides known as king tides in the Bay Area caused a flood advisory. The king tides can cause flooding to sidewalks, parks, and roadways.
I'm here in San Francisco at Pier number 14, and the local time is about 11:20 a.m. So what's happening is the phenomenon of the king tides, where the water level is so high that it's splashing up onto the sidewalk. According to the National Weather Service, king tides occur when tidal forces maximize as the moon, earth, and sun align. The forecast water level of 7.13 feet was exceeded at 7.49 feet. They said the anomaly is partly due to the surge from the current storm. People came to see the king tides today.
You know, they'll come up even onto the pavement here, and so some people are really interested in that as well.
Anytime you get to see something out of the ordinary, it is pretty neat.
The event also brings low water levels as well.
At the really low tides, you can see a lot of the bottom of the bay, including even right where we're standing here. If you look over the edge, you can see rocks and then anything that's been thrown in there, like chairs and scooters and bicycles, unfortunately, and things like that, but also other random things that might roll up out of the bay.
The king tides happens every year, but the flooding brings concerns. Scientists and local government officials say it is a result of climate change. Locals share their thoughts.
Do I believe it's because of climate change? No, I don't think this specifically is, but we might start to see, higher and higher water levels as time goes on. Flash forward into what global warming will look like.
Oh, I think it's fascinating to watch. I mean,
it is fascinating to watch, but it's the result of climate change too. It really is.
But we've always had the king tide. I don't know. I think I've seen it where it's come out over through here onto the street.
A street inspector with the Port of SF said in the past, high winds and tides brought water towards the businesses across the street. This is reportedly the last San Francisco king tides for winter. David Lamb, NTD News, San Francisco.
California is currently proposing legislation that solar experts say, quite ironically, could kill the solar industry in the state. And now Tesla is joining the fight against it. NTD's Eileen Richards has more.
Tesla has joined the fight against California proposal NEM 3.0, a proposal that could make it more expensive to have solar power in the state. Tesla told employees that this proposal is not final and can change in response to public feedback. Dale Rolfe is the head of business development at Pacific Sun Technologies, a residential solar provider in Southern California. Rolfe says NEM 3.0 is too drastic.
These changes are going to, in essence, kill the industry for most consumers.
Solar panel users in California can sell their excess energy to utility companies, a mechanism called net energy metering. NEM 3.0 slashes the amount of money solar users can get from that excess energy. In addition, the proposal adds a new monthly charge of $8 per kilowatt hour. This means solar users would have to pay their utility company roughly $50 to $60 per month for an average solar system.
If you were going to go solar or you were thinking about it, you're not going to want to anymore because you won't benefit from it. A lot of people go solar to save money. The cost of electricity is very expensive in the state of California.
Daniel Turner is the founder of Power the Future, a nonprofit that aims to offer truth, facts, and research that will enrich the national conversation on energy. Turner says California is trying to raise money.
They're trying to raise revenue, quite frankly. There's really no value for them in having people off their grid. They need people to pay more money
Dale Rolfe from Pacific Sun Technologies believes the proposal will go through unless the governor steps in or people really stand up. Eileen Richards, NTD News.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on the world of sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup.
Inside a massive barn in Pasadena, California, hundreds of volunteers meticulously painted, glued, snipped, and arranged thousands of flowers for the return of the annual Rose Parade on New Year's Day. This year marks the 133rd anniversary of the Rose Parade, which takes a 5.5-mile route from Green Street and Orange Grove Boulevard in Pasadena and ends at Villa Street. The parade precedes the Rose Bowl game, which features a traditional matchup of football teams from the Big Ten and the Pac-12 Collegiate Athletic Conferences. The parade comes amid a rising tide of COVID-19 cases caused by the Omicron variant, which U.S. health officials on Thursday warned would threaten major disruptions across the United States. For the second day in a row, the U.S. has had a record number of new cases based on 7-day averages, with more than 290,000 new infections reported each day, a Reuters tally showed. Pasadena's 2022 Rose Parade was a great success Saturday. The Ohio State Buckeyes beat the Utah Utes 48-45 to win the Rose Bowl game. China's Eileen Gu recovered from a disappointing first run to claim her second victory in 3 days in the halfpipe competition at the FIS Freestyle Ski World Cup in Calgary, Canada. Gu recorded 92.8 points to beat local favorite Rachel Carker and American Hannah Fallhaber on Saturday to secure her third win in 3 halfpipe competitions so far this season. With the final halfpipe event scheduled to take place at Mammoth Mountain in California next week, Gu leads the overall standings on 300 points, 80 ahead of Carker in second and Fallhaber in third on 185 points. LeBron James scored 26 points, Malik Monk added 22 as Los Angeles earned a victory over visiting Minnesota despite a significant rebounding disadvantage. Russell Westbrook had 20 points for the Lakers, but had 9 turnovers on a night when Los Angeles had 28 rebounds to 56 for Minnesota. The Lakers defeated the Timberwolves for the first time in 3 tries this season. Naz Reid scored a season-high 23 points and had 11 rebounds for the Timberwolves, who lost for the 5th time in their last 6 games. Reid was held scoreless in the 4th quarter. Minnesota was without 2 of its 3 top scorers, with Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell still in COVID-19 protocols. Lakers 108, Timberwolves 103. De'Aaron Fox, who went scoreless in the first quarter, made 2 go-ahead free throws with 6.2 seconds left to lead host Sacramento to a win over Miami. On the ensuing possession, Miami's Jimmy Butler drove into the lane, but his turnaround jumper bounced off the rim as the Heat had their 5-game win streak broken. Fox finished with 24 points as the Kings won for the 3rd time in 4 games. Buddy Hield led Sacramento with a game-high 26 points, making 7 of his 14 three-pointers. Omer Yurtseven scored a career-best 22 points. Kings 115, Heat 113.
As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
And that's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for the show, feel free to let us know. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Daniel Hall. Have a wonderful evening.